This is typical Coltrane inside playing. How Coltrane takes one step in the altered direction. And Coltrane on all-in altered dominant. Coltrane is a master of clearly playing levels of dominant functions and alterations. Starting with the diatonic dominant in the 2-5-1 D minor, G7 and C. You need to know about voice leading when you're resolving dominants into the tonic. On the G7 chord, the F, the 7th of the G7, leads into the E, the 3rd of the C major. And the leading tone, the B on the G7, is leading into the root of the C chord, the C. The leading tones are called leading tones because they have a strong leading effect, and that's because of the half steps between the leading tone and where they're leading to. In this first leg, Coltrane is playing a great chromatic line on the D minor 7 chord, which is strongly leading towards this G7. But we want to talk about the dominant. On the G7, Coltrane shows us how he's an expert in using the voice leading. Coltrane plays the G7 chord down, uses the F and the D to encircle and lead towards the E on the G7, like before on the G7 to the C, but he does not resolve to the C just yet. The E and the G is a motion towards that D, the 9th of the C major chord. And the D and the earlier played B is leading strongly towards that C he's playing on the one hand. When you construct these lines, really think about the voice leading, how you resolve the chords into each other. In this line, I start with a B and I end on the D on the G7, and both those tones leads towards the C. But in my ears, I do not really like to end on the 1 on the root of the C chord or any other major chord. If you have any other options, do that, like this. In this ending, I choose to embellish the C instead. The B and the D from the G7 chord still suggest I play the C, but I'm just touching it on the one hand. And what I mentioned, if you play another ending on the C, the B and the D, the leading tones, still really suggest that you play the C chord. Remember that you can download all the licks I'm playing in this video on the Patreon in the lesson manual. Talking about the first alteration. In the second bar of this lick, Coltrane uses the F-7 B-flat-7 as the alteration of the G7. The theoretical explanation behind this is a little bit heavy, but here we go. The 4th degree becomes a minor chord. Start in the C major, we have the 4th degree. From the minor key, not the C major, but the C minor key, we borrow that A flat and put that into the F major. And you get this really nice sound out of it, an F minor major chord. But we want to make it a bit easier. We're also borrowing the E flat from the C minor scale, putting that on the F minor major chord. You get a regular 2nd degree F-7 belonging to the E flat major scale. You want to play stuff you know, so you're turning this into an F-7 B-flat-7. 2-5 in E flat. In the first bar, I play the D minor chord just as a normal 2-5-1, D minor G7C. In the second bar, I change directly into the F-7 B-flat-7, the 2-5 in E flat, going down that F minor chord, encircling the D on the B-flat-7 and leading towards the B on the C major 7. And on the C major 7, I run up the arpeggio. The real trick to this is be very clear about what you're superimposing over that G7 or over the dominant chord. When I'm constructing these lines, I stick to very basic material. In the first bar, I'm playing a D minor 7 chord and adding some G7. On the G7 bar, the second bar, I'm playing F-7 B-flat-7. I 100% switch to E flat major, so the 2-5 in E flat major, F-7 B-flat-7. Up the F-7, down the B-flat-7 scale, resolving to C major, the E. To help you get this alteration into your playing, I have added tons of licks in the lesson manual on Patreon. Plug and play. Coltrane goes all in on this third alteration, playing the F-7 over that C7 dominant in the 3rd and 4th bar of the blues. I just want to change the key so we have the same reference. I'm moving this into a G7 chord. This means our altered chord, what Coltrane is playing, is a C sharp 7. But how does it get there? What we talked about earlier is that the G7 is leading towards the C7 because of the leading tones, the B and the F. The C sharp is holding the B and the F too. The F is an E sharp, but basically an F. Same leading tones as the G7. And you're changing the root, the G to the C sharp, which have a very, very strong leading effect with the half step down to that C. You're getting a B, you're getting an F, and you're getting a C sharp as leading tones. In this lick I go all in on the C sharp 7 like Coltrane did in his lick. Fully using the F sharp major scale where the C sharp is located as the dominant. And of course you can fit this into a 2-5-1, the D minor, G7C. Superimposing the C sharp 7 on that G7. To really get you going on these alterations, I've filled this week's lesson manual with licks only. And of course they're transposed into all 12 keys. Licks only in all 12 keys. To really step into the jazz alterations, I so much recommend you to check out these two videos. Play music, have fun.